Mark Sanchez is fired by Fox Sports. Sanchez faces a felony battery charge. It stems from a fight in a downtown alley when Sanchez was in the Circle City to call a Colts game.
Former New Orleans quarterback Brees will replace him.
Remember when I told you about the Mark Sanchez situation? How he went from stabbing victim to felony defendant in 72 hours? Well, if you thought that story was over, you haven't been paying attention. Because on Friday, exactly 1 month after that incident in Indianapolis, Fox Sports just made it official. And what I'm about to tell you makes everything we covered in that first video look like an opening act. We've got breaking news, we've got a lawsuit that could cost tens of millions of dollars, and we've got a victim whose life has been permanently altered. And we've got a trial date that's coming up fast. And Fox Sports just hired a Super Bowl champion to literally replace Mark Sanchez. The symbolism here is not subtle. This is the follow-up you guys have been asking for, and trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for all of it, because the story just keeps getting worse for Sanchez. So real quick before we get to the content, this video is probably gonna get demonetized. We've been covering some pretty crazy topics recently, between Antonio Brown being extradited to the United States from Dubai after being on the run for 5 months because he's wanted for allegedly murdering someone, all the way to the Mark Sanchez stabbing incident. So if you guys could take a moment to leave a like and consider subscribing and turning on our notifications to support our content, that'd be greatly appreciated. And to also help fund our content, this video is sponsored. You guys have been flooding my DMs about our hit rate on Prize Picks. It's over 70% for this month. We've been absolutely dominating in both the NBA and the NFL, and I'm gonna give you guys my pick of the week in just a sec. First, to sign up for Prize Picks, make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone so you can get $50 in lineups when you make a play of $5 or more. And then tail this pick. I have Devontae Adams and Tyler Warren each recording a touchdown, and I have JJ McCarthy getting under 214.5 pass yards. I think the line's gonna move on JJ McCarthy. This guy's been averaging like 150 pass yards a game. I don't care if he's going up against Baltimore. I expect him to have another game where he's getting the under in pass yardage. Now, if you guys want additional daily plays, I partnered up with a genius at making picks in a Discord server. The link to the Discord server is the WAP link in the description down below. It's the second link from the top. And thank you, Prize Picks, for sponsoring today's video. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I apologize if I don't have the most professional setup, guys. I'm currently in New York City. If you happen to live here, slide into my DMs and maybe we could meet up. So let's start with the news that broke on Friday, November 7th, 2025. Fox Sports has officially terminated Mark Sanchez. Not suspended, not on leave, fired, gone. Done. The statement from Fox was about as cold as it gets. We can confirm that Mark Sanchez is no longer with the network. There will be no further comment at this time. That's it. No thank you for your service. No we wish him well. Just a corporate goodbye that basically says we're done talking about this guy. Now, this wasn't exactly surprising. Sanchez hasn't been on air since October 4th, the day of the incident. Brady Quinn and Mark Schlereth have been filling in for him, but there's a big difference between being temporarily replaced while you recover and being permanently fired. And the timing here, exactly 1 month after the incident, that's not a coincidence. That's Fox waiting just long enough to let the initial media storm die down before they quietly cut ties. But here's what makes this interesting. Fox didn't just fire Sanchez. They also had a replacement announcement ready to go on the same day. And that replacement is definitely someone you guys know. On the same day Fox announced that Mark Sanchez was out, they also announced that Drew Brees is joining Fox Sports as an NFL analyst. And get this, he's taking over Sanchez's exact role. Same broadcast crew, same position, same everything. Drew Brees has a squeaky clean image. No scandals, no controversies, no allegations of drunk altercations with senior citizens. He's the polar opposite of the PR nightmare that Mark Sanchez became. Fox's statement about Brees was glowing. Brad Zager, the Fox Sports president, said that Drew is one of the best to ever play the game, and we couldn't be more excited to have his prolific credentials and unique insights as part of our coverage. But Fox's problems with Mark Sanchez aren't over just because they fired him, because there's a lawsuit, and it's not just any lawsuit, it's a lawsuit that names both Sanchez and Fox Corporation as defendants. And the allegations in this lawsuit, they're brutal. The lawsuit was filed by Perry Toll, the 69-year-old truck driver who defended himself that night in Indianapolis. And he's not just suing suing for medical bills. He's going after both compensation and punitive damages, which in legal terms means he's trying to both get paid for his suffering and punish the defendants for their conduct. The lawsuit accuses Sanchez of assault and battery, which is pretty straightforward, but the allegations against Fox, that's where things get really interesting. The lawsuit claims that Fox engaged in negligent hiring, retention, and supervision of Mark Sanchez. Specifically, the lawsuit alleges that Fox knew or should have known about defendant Sanchez's unfitness as an employee, his propensity for drinking and or harmful conduct. Read that again. The lawsuit is saying that Fox either knew Sanchez had issues with alcohol and aggression, or they should have known and they failed to properly supervise him. Now, we don't have evidence yet of what Fox knew or didn't know about Sanchez's behavior before this incident, but the fact that this allegation is in the lawsuit means that during the discovery phase, Toll's lawyers are going to be digging through Fox's files, looking at Sanchez's employment history, checking if there were any complaints or red flags that were ignored. That's gotta make Fox nervous, because think about it, if it comes out that there were previous incidents or warnings about Sanchez's behavior and Fox did nothing about it, then they could be on the hook for massive damages. We're talking about potentially tens of millions of dollars, especially if a jury decides that Fox's negligence allowed Sanchez to seriously harm the 69-year-old man. There's also the question of whether Sanchez was acting within the scope of his employment when the incident happened. He was in Indianapolis to work a Fox broadcast. He was on company time in a sense. That creates a legal concept called vicarious liability, where an employer can be held responsible for an employee's actions if they occurred during work-related activities. Legal experts are already discussing whether Fox could face this kind of liability, and some are pointing to Indiana's superior doctrine, which basically says that employers can be held responsible for their employees' negligent or wrongful acts. This is why Fox fired Sanchez on Friday. They need to create as much distance as possible between themselves and him before this lawsuit really heats up. They're trying to say, look, we took action immediately. We got rid of the problem. Don't hold us responsible for what he did on his own time. But here's the thing that's not going to help Fox's defense. We know Sanchez's net worth is estimated between $38 and $40 million. That's a lot of money, but Fox Corporation is worth billions of dollars. And if this case goes to a jury, and that jury sees a 69-year-old working man who got attacked by a drunk millionaire while that millionaire was working for $1 billion corporation, who do you think that jury is going to side with? Perry Toll's lawyers know exactly what they're doing to Fox in this lawsuit. And let's talk about the victim for a second, because Perry Toll is 69 years old. He was just doing his job, collecting used cooking oil from a hotel at 12:30 in the morning. This is a guy who works a grease collection route. He's not rich. He's not famous. He's a working man just trying to make a living. And then Mark Sanchez, drunk and aggressive, decides that this guy can't park where he's parked and starts a confrontation that ends with both men in the hospital. Let's talk about Toll's injuries for a second, because they're severe. The lawsuit states that he suffered severe permanent disfigurement, loss of function, other physical injuries, and emotional distress. That's the legal language, but what does that actually mean? According to court documents, Toll has a laceration that went all the way through his left cheek. All the way through means that the cut went through the outer part of his face, through the muscle and into his mouth, hitting his tongue. His attorneys say that the injury has affected his jaw, his mouth, and permanently impacted his speech. There are photos that have circulated online showing Toll in the hospital. I'm not going to describe them in detail because they're graphic, but they show a man who is clearly in serious pain with significant injuries to his face. When asked to rate his pain on a scale of 1 to 10, Toll said it reached a 10. But beyond the physical injuries, there's the life impact. Toll's attorneys revealed that his son is getting married next week, and Toll won't be able to attend the wedding because of his injuries. Imagine that. Your son's wedding, one of the most important days in his life, and you can't be there because some drunk guy attacked you while you were working. Eric May, one of Toll's attorneys, told reporters that you can see from the pictures that he's got an enormous wound, a cut on his face. The scarring that he has and is going to have affects his speech right now. Obviously, he's in a lot of pain. There's a lot of swelling. These aren't injuries that are going to heal in a few weeks and be forgotten. This is permanent disfigurement. This is a man whose face and ability to speak have been permanently altered because he had the misfortune of being in the wrong alley when Mark Sanchez decided to start a fight. Toll's legal team released a statement emphasizing that he was the victim victim of an attack by Mark Sanchez, and that the initial investigation supported his claim of self-defense. And prosecutors agreed. They're not charging Toll with anything. They determined his actions were justified self-defense against an aggressor who kept coming even after being pepper sprayed. This is the part of the story that I think gets lost sometimes when we talked about celebrity scandals. There's a real person on the other end of this who didn't ask for any of this, who was just trying to do his job, and whose life has been permanently changed because of someone else's terrible decisions. So where does this go from here? Well, we've got two separate legal tracks happening simultaneously, and both of them spell trouble for Sanchez. On the criminal side, Sanchez's trial is scheduled to begin on December 11th, 2025. That's just over a month away. He's facing one level 5 felony battery charge that carries a sentence of 1 to 6 years in prison, plus 3 misdemeanor charges for public intoxication, battery with injury, and unlawful entry of a motor vehicle. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears has been pretty clear about how seriously they're taking this case. He said this incident should have never happened. What began as a disagreement between a 38-year-old former professional athlete and a 69-year-old man should not have escalated into violence or left anyone seriously injured. The prosecution has surveillance video from 2 different hotels showing the incident. They have witness testimony. They have the victim's consistent account that has been corroborated by the video evidence. And they have Sanchez's own admission to police that he couldn't remember what happened, which doesn't exactly help his case. Now, Sanchez's legal team will likely try to argue mutual combat, that both men were fighting and both got hurt, so it's not really fair to charge only Sanchez. But that's going to be a tough sell when the video evidence reportedly shows Sanchez as the clear instigator who kept advancing even after being pepper sprayed. Self-defense laws are pretty clear. If you're the aggressor and you force someone else to defend themselves, you don't get to claim that you were just fighting back. On the civil side, the lawsuit is just getting started. We're probably looking at months or even years before that case is resolved. There will be a discovery phase where both sides exchange evidence, take depositions, and build their cases. Then either it settles out of court, which is usually what happens, or it goes to trial. If it goes to trial, a jury is going to have to decide not just whether Mark Sanchez is liable, but also whether Fox is liable for negligent hiring and supervision. And here's where it gets really expensive for everyone involved. Punitive damages are designed to punish defendants for particularly egregious conduct. If a jury decides that Sanchez's behavior was especially bad, which attacking a 69-year-old man while drunk certainly qualifies as, they can award damages that go way beyond just compensating Toll for his medical bills and his lost wages. And if they find Fox liable, Fox has deep pockets. A jury could award damages designed to send a message to a billion-dollar corporation about the importance of properly vetting and supervising their on-air talent. This story has a lot of things. It's a cautionary tale about alcohol and aggression. It's a reminder that celebrities and former athletes don't get a pass when they hurt regular people. It's an example of how quickly a career can be destroyed. And it's a tragedy for Perry Toll, who did nothing wrong and paid a terrible price. When I first made the video about this story, I said it might be the most dramatic fall from grace we'd ever seen in sports media in years. And now 1 month later, with Sanchez officially fired and replaced by a Super Bowl champion, with a massive lawsuit moving forward, and with a trial date looming, I think that assessment holds up. We went from Mark Sanchez calling NFL games to Mark Sanchez potentially going to prison in a span of a month. From broadcaster to criminal defendant, from working alongside respected colleagues to being replaced by one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That's how fast it can all fall apart. I'll be following this story as it continues to develop. The trial in December should provide a lot more information about what exactly happened that night and what Sanchez's legal fate will be. And the civil lawsuit could have implications not just for Sanchez and Fox, but for how networks handle their talent going forward. What do you think? Was Fox right to fire Sanchez, or should they have waited for the legal process to play out? Do you think he'll end up in prison, or will he cut a deal? And do you think Fox should be held liable in the civil lawsuit? Let me know in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.